As a child, Dewi Murniani disappeared in Sanur. Later she pursued a profession as a dentist. But Dewi ultimately chose a job based on her childhood experience of disappearance, that of fortune telling. Even stranger if you study empirical scientific knowledge in formal lectures at universities. After graduating, you would enter the mystical and spiritual world by becoming a fortune teller. It's not that Dewi Murniani had never practiced dentistry at all. After graduating from the Faculty of Dentistry at Trisakti University in Jakarta, she joined several dental clinics. She worked in that profession for several years, from when she was single until she got married and had 3 children. But throughout her life, from childhood to adulthood, Dewi felt her sixth sense was strong. Her premonitions about something that hadn't happened yet often appear, and sometimes without her realising it. Then suddenly they come to her, surprising those around her. When walking in a crowd of friends, for example, she sees a suspicious person. She immediately reminds them to be careful with their belongings. Sure enough, not long afterwards, a person she suspected was caught and beaten by the crowd for pickpocketing. Relatives, parents, younger siblings, she's the eldest of 5 siblings, and friends were shocked when Dewi made her suspicions, because she seemed to make random accusations, which often didn't seem to make sense. In fact, every time the suspicion was proven, the prediction came true. Gradually they got used to Dewi. I myself was surprised without me wanting it. The thought came up by itself and immediately said it. It became more and more frequent, said Dewi. Because the premonitions often appeared, Dewi tried to utilise them. She tamed the abilities that were originally wild and suddenly became more focused. She used it to predict fortunes, as well as to analyse people's experiences. She was so enthusiastic about doing this new activity, she even went deeper into it by studying fortune telling, using crystal balls, tarot cards and palmistry. She made a living from that skill. When opportunities began to open up, the profession of dentistry became less attractive. Dewi's childhood and adolescence was spent in Brebes, Central Java, famous for its shallots. Her parents were traders owning a shop. One time, the eldest Dewi was 7 years old, the family went on holiday to Bali. Since morning they'd arrived at the beach, which was still quiet at the time, playing, chatting, joking. Children often play in the sands. Those who were older jump along the beach waves. Apparently everyone was too busy with themselves and didn't realise that Dewi wasn't there. The parents panicked. So did the group members and those who asked for help. A report to the Coast Guard. The report was forwarded to the police and the local banjar. The traces of sand where Dewi had originally played had been erased by the water. While the waves were not big, Sanur beach is basically quite gentle. Logically, even if a 7-year-old girl went to sleep by the backwater, it wouldn't take a long time to track her down. She would definitely scream or move her body to attract people's attention. There was no sign at all. The younger siblings and relatives who were playing together, when asked, gave short answers. Dewi was also there. The mother seemed hysterical, calling Dewi's name. Police advised the family to return to their accommodation and promised to keep them informed of any developments. SAR officers had already have standard search procedures. Moreover, in several cases, people who disappeared were swept away by the waves at Sanur beach, always returned the next morning, albeit dead. That's what made Dewi's parents reluctant to follow the police's advice. They remained at the beach, helped to search, whilst hoping that the child would be found. Invited to go out with peers, dusk passed, the sky grew darker. Suddenly someone found a little girl under a big mangrove tree. It was Dewi. Everyone was shocked. Dozens of people who were busy searching immediately stopped their activities. How did Dewi suddenly appear there after looking for her all day and not finding her? Moreover, the bushes were not too dense with mango trees, and the distance that at a glance would definitely be visible if a child was sheltering under it. The bush, which was only steps away from the children's play area during the morning, had become a shelter for many people. Nobody saw Dewi there earlier. Her parents were grateful for the miracle that they experienced. Relief invoked all relatives, dozens of SAR members, search volunteers, the Petulang, and also the police. There were no wounds on her body. Her clothes were intact, with little sand stuck to them. Surprisingly, her clothes were dry, indicating that Dewi did not fall into the sea. Her hair remained soft, unlike hair that's been soaked in the sea. My friends asked me to play, Dewi said later. An ordinary girl, my age, normal face, clothes, took my hand and took me for a walk. What made Dewi a little surprised was that the child had a slightly Indonesian face. His skin was white, even grey. In 1906, Padang Galak was the place where the Dutch military intervention force, led by Rost van Tonningenken, disembarked to conquer the Bandung and Tambangan kingdoms, resulting in the Perputatan bloodbath. More than 1,000 people died. Legend speaks of a female sea goddess that haunts the beach with a wild and angry energy that binds and drowns unsuspecting victims, living up to the beach's name, which means fierce in Indonesian. Any local will be happy to regale with you stories of those who ventured into the waters of Padang Galak, looking for the perfect wave, only to disappear below the wild water, never to be seen again. And that winds that blow along the beach, some say it's the screams of the surfers managing their last breath before the sea goddess drags them down to the bottom. Some time ago, a boy was struck dead by a kite at the beach. Rumour sped that it must have incurred the wrath of the sea goddess, who claimed him for her own. This is an identical story to that of Nia Rorokido. However, she's more associated with Pantai Segara Ayu, a little further south. Campuhan and Windhu Segara temple is located at Padang Galak Beach, Sanur. The temple is a holy place that combines various cultures and beliefs that are united in one place of worship. The temple is believed to be an ideal place or location to perform melakut, a spiritual cleansing ceremony of the mind and soul in humans, performed both on special days and almost every day. This place is crowded with visitors who want to pray and perform melakut. The temple is a combination of many cultural elements and beliefs, including respect for Shiva with his lingam, respect for Dewi Subhadra, and an offering place for Dewi Naya. So I am correct about Nia Rorokido. Sanur has a spooky ghost town at Padang Galak Beach. It's the vast ruins of the Taman Festival Bali, a theme park that was shut down shortly after its establishment in 1997 due to marketing and financial difficulties before being handed over to the local government. The park's deserted main entrance gates, ticket booths, empty cafeteria and deteriorated main buildings with partially collapsed roofs all give it a creepy sensation, even in broad daylight. Dense foliage and creeper vines have grown over broken windows, and ornamental stone figures loom over in the open spaces, making it the great post-apocalypse setting to try your nerves. The local believe at long-abandoned sites like Taman Festival of Bali, eventually becoming inhabited by low-class spirits. The location is the Bali Festival Park, which is located close to the Padang Galak beach, Sanur. Previously, this place was an amusement park, but it's now abandoned. While still operating, Bali Festival Park offered many interesting rides. This included a 3D theatre, an artificial volcano that can erupt periodically, a laser light show at night, a zoo, a performance building, and various other amusement rides. This pleasant situation has changed 180 degrees. The various games at this location have been damaged, and lots of bushes have grown around them. The walls with peeling paint and lots of graffiti and murals, as well as the roof frame of the building that is not left, adds to the haunted impression of this place. There are many horror stories circulating in the community, one of which is that a visitor died while trying out one of the games there. The park was built in 1997, unfortunately around 2000. This amusement park went bankrupt and closed until now. Reportedly, some of the crocodiles that used to be kept there have gone to sea, and some still live there and cannot be caught. Every day the guards, who are local residents, take turns in placing the kanang sari, these are offerings, to the deities and to honour the ancestors. Although most of the festival park is neglected, the small temple inside is well maintained, because this location is quite far. When delivering the kanang sari, the officer must pass through abandoned buildings. When delivering the kanang, that's when the officers heard a woman's voice calling while crying. A report in a local newspaper contained a fascinating case. Angeline's body was found on Wednesday. The police have only named Augustinus Tai, 25, as a suspect of the murder of the sweet boy. However, the police are continuing to investigate the people closest to the 8-year-old boy. After the case was revealed, Angeline's adoptive parents' house on Jalan Sadap Malam number 26, Denpasar, Bali, became the centre of horrific events. Several police officers had heard the sounds of children crying and singing and mysterious things while guarding the house, which was dirty and unkempt and filled with livestock. In fact, it was only the police officers, Angeline's teachers, have also experienced similar disturbances. However, this happened when the cute boy had not been found. Earlier, a colleague of ours, a teacher, was unconscious because he was shocked. He had heard Angeline's voice calling. Our colleague heard the call, "Mama, Mama," 3 times. Not only him, but other friends also heard the voice, "Farther away," said Shri on Tuesday. The mystery of the sound of children singing and dolls in Angeline's house. 4 days after the discovery of Angeline's body at their house, many strange incidents were experienced by a number of the police officers on guard at night. According to their confession, one of the strange things was the sound of a child singing. Since the discovery of Angeline's body on Wednesday, the traffic on Jalan Sadap Malam is always busy, especially during the afternoon to evening. The streets only felt empty around 2 o'clock in the morning. Around 2 in the morning until dawn, it started to get a bit quiet. It was in fact quiet from 4 in the morning until 6 in the morning. And no one came anymore, said a police officer with the rank of First Brigadier, who admitted that at time to watch at night at Angeline's house once on a Sunday. According to him, many strange events occurred at the house when things started to get quiet. This, he said, happened the second night after Angeline's body was found. Around 4 a.m, the streets were really quiet. Not even a single vehicle passed by. According to this stocky policeman, suddenly the hairs on the back of his neck rose when he heard the river was water flowing loudly. He thought there was a flood. But when he turned to the river in front of Angeline's house, the water was actually calm and not flowing. The first sound of loud water was flowing in the big gutter that used to be the river. I saw that the water was calm and the sound of the water was gone, he said. Then the police admitted that he sat for a while, whilst lighting the cigarette, and said, "Son, never mind, leave this road, Uncle is on guard duty." After saying this, the police heard the faint sound of the child singing from inside the house. He believed the source of the sound was from inside the house, where Angeline was killed. He didn't know what the song was being sung. He was just trying to divert attention by chatting with fellow officers. "We only guard 2 people, sir. When I heard little children singing, I just ignored them," he said. However, what made him a little surprised and filled with fear was when he saw one of the dolls given by the residents amongst the pile of flowers suddenly move on its own. This was also acknowledged by his colleagues. He'd heard the footsteps of a small child jumping up and down. "When the doll moved, I immediately got goosebumps. It was like I was stiff, I couldn't move," he added. After the incident, the policeman admitted that he was sleeping at home. He dreamed that Angeline was visiting him. According to him, the boy just wanted to apologise. In the dream, according to him, Angeline tried to give a signal that there were just 4 perpetrators of the murder, namely by showing him 4 tiny fingers on his right hand. It was revealed that this was the reason why General Andika accepted the application from a former police officer's son to his daughter, Angela. Paranormal helpers said that Angeline asked parents never to throw away their children's toys. From this resulted a request from Jero Balian, a Dukan, who specialises in summoning spirits. It was said that Angeline had no grudges. In fact, he said, Angeline was sincere and had no intention of disturbing his killers. Apart from that, according to Jero Paxi Raja, Angeline only advised all parents of this world to never throw away their children and to love their children. Even from the conjuration ceremony at the location on Jalan Sedat Malam, where Angeline lived, he believed there was another spirit that felt sorry for Angeline and took advantage of the opportunity to haunt the perpetrators. Angeline is a sweet child. He has no grudges. This child said he would return to Nirvana with his body. He just asked to love children and not throw them away, he explained on Monday. For information, he was interviewed when the 2nd grade elementary school boy was reported missing. That time Gerald Paxi only said that the children had gone. The police would find it no later than June the 10th, when the house was already rotting. His words were proven. Wednesday the 10th of June, Angeline was found buried in the chipping coop in the backyard of the house. Regarding the perpetrator, from the result of the summons, the psychic admitted that Angeline only mentioned 4 people without naming them. He only mentioned 4 people, but he didn't mention anyone, he said. A number of police officers on guard that night. According to the confession, only one strange thing with the sound of a child singing. In the front of the gate of Angeline's house, the teacher placed offerings. This was done after the teachers were given instructions by a Dukan at Wutakengong area, Denpasar. They said Angeline was invited by the supernatural being who guards the temple, and we were asked offerings while Angeline to be sent home safely and consciously, said Angeline's homeroom teacher, Petu.